Slug.
So here we are in Glentress Forest, and because I had the 360 Insta360 X4,
It's not filming us.
it is.
Okay.
Because look.
Okay, sorry. Shows you what I know.
Yeah. Because I had the Insta360 camera in my pocket, I thought, you know what, why not?
Good
and
idea.
So I have no idea what the sound will be like in terms of all this wind, but we can give it a go and see if we can filter out the wind noise. So I was going to talk to you. Ooh. All right. Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about what I've been thinking about recently for the penultimate section of my book about the future of live streaming, but also kind of the place of live streaming and what it means and so on. And I think this rough and ready wilderness could be a good example because it's a live environment and we are walking quite a challenging uphill route. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about provenance and authenticity, which are core inner ear values. Should we go along like that bit? And
carry on, I'm just looking at the maps.
Those are
35 minutes it says to get to the
okay.
thing.
Let's see how we get on. So provenance and authenticity are two of inner ear's core values, along with liveness and integrity, fairness, and I think that they are becoming more important than ever in terms of trustworthiness of the content that you see and hear,
because of AI slop.
Yeah, and potential deep fakes.
Yeah.
So it's much harder to fake a live stream.
Totally.
Very hard. Not impossible by any means, but if you can tell that it's genuinely live, in that even just people respond, you know, the people on camera are responding to comments in the chat, and so it couldn't be pre-recorded, then the technology and computing power required to actually deep fake anything would be
cyclist.
So here's a cyclist riding this route full of be good to attach this camera to a bike actually and cycle these routes. But yeah, I think that's one of the joys and the magic of live program making is the liveness and the jeopardy involved. You know, anything could go wrong. And then we've been looking at playing with this 360 camera, and I think that the immersive video that you can capture from it and the immersive experience you can have. Do we go this way?
I'm going to take the road.
Yeah, is really interesting because you could have a live stream with a standard 2D stream, whether that's single camera or multi-camera, and have it as a vision mixed, you know, TV directed style program.
Yeah.
But you could also stream a 360 stream as well, where the viewer of the 3D stream.
Is it more in control? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it places you in a... Well, do you know what that's making me think about using like MetaQuest or whatever, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Could it then get augmented even more for that?
Well, yeah, like...
I've got reservations about MetaQuest though, because there's one thing watching the cinema, one thing watching the telly, one thing watching your laptop, one thing watching your phone. Getting all these bright blue lights in our closer and closer to our brain is not good for us, and all the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And I know you think I'm talking nonsense about electromagnetic frequencies, but we don't necessarily know what we don't know about those things. I'm just saying, something to be...
But, you know, I'm not advocating doing it. We could walk along this path.
I don't want to go on another cycle path.
Okay. I'm not advocating doing this all day. I'm just talking about
for a half hour,
yeah, for a show.
Yeah, I get it.
But the immersive nature of it and being able to choose where you look
I
is
love that. I would
really
love that.
interesting. And so if you're wearing a headset, then you're completely free to look around. Or if, like with our experiment earlier on, I did a 360 stream and then we watched it on my phone. And if you're streaming to a platform that can handle 360 video, like YouTube for example, then you pick up the phone and you move it around the complete 360 field of vision and you see...
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We came this way, so we can get that way as well.
Yeah, okay. So...
that wasn't so bad, that walk up.
Yeah. So there's also the accessibility advantage there.
Agreed.
So
do you know what? There was an interesting topic being discussed a couple of weeks ago on Nicholas Grimshaw, the Red Admiral Butterfly, and Annie Max Sidetracked BBC podcast, and they were saying, I don't know if it's Olivia Rodrigo or someone, one of the big female pop stars, maybe it was Spanish girl doing the... Anyway, talking about how phones weren't allowed into the gig. And that's really good, and I definitely think there's a place for that. And one thing I hadn't thought about was like, yeah, but what about people who can't afford to go to the gig and they do literally watch and experience the gig from their mate who's at the gig, you know, or someone who's disabled and who can't go, do you know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was something that hadn't been considered.
Yeah, well,
you know, it's all well and good artists saying no phones, but like then that's making it exclusive. And already when tickets are like £150 or more, they're pricing so many people out of like being able to go to gigs, you know?
it's a fair point. There's a few considerations there.
It's just something I hadn't thought about.
Sure. I think though, there's copyright, and so if you're capturing it for your own purpose,
No, I think for like people to literally be watching their live, you know, in the minute on TikTok or on Instagram Live, or you know, do you know what I mean?
I think that is
a bit sketch.
very problematic in terms of copyright.
Yeah, fair enough.
But problematic, putting it lightly, really. But I have often talked about Samsung made a 360 camera. Can't remember what it's called, and it's a little globe on a stick, and the advert for it was a pop act, and there was a dad who went to see, like a Taylor Swift type act, and the dad went to see the artist in an arena, and all around him is screaming teenage fans, and he's standing there.
Oh, this folk didn't go away for bobbers.
Oh yeah, cool. That is. Oh, it looks
Quite scary.
Pretty scary, pretty cool, amazing setting.
Also good view from here.
Yeah. Yeah, this dad standing kind of pole face in the concert, feeling like a fool, holding this 360 camera. And then the end scene.
Facebook glasses.
End scene was was the daughter watching it in her bedroom. And I don't know if, I can't remember if she couldn't go because she was ill or had a broken leg or was disabled or whatever reason couldn't go.
Not that disabled people can't go to gigs, it's just not always as easy.
Yeah, but sometimes but they can't, however, stand in the middle of the standing area throng of people. And so the ad was for capturing that and reliving that experience. I thought it's kind of a brilliant use of the technology, but also I was amazed that that was allowed to be broadcast because of the copyright implications of doing that. But this was for, he wasn't publishing it online. It was so his daughter could have the experience because she wasn't able to go. Could also be that, you know, she was just too young. But that is a great use of the technology, but that's where I think that the artist could do it. You know, the management company and or promoter could do that in a sanctioned way. And I think that for...
What, you pay a premium to share on your socials?
No, they produce it.
Right. Oh, that'd be too polished though, wouldn't be the same.
No, not necessarily.
Oh, do it live there and then.
Right, so if we were going to do that, right, there's not really, the only choice that you make with a 360 camera is where to put the camera, which is an important choice.
Yeah.
But once you've done that, then the rest is up to the viewer. It's okay. I think it's stabilization should cope with this, we'll see. But the rest is up to the viewer.
Yeah. And
so I think that's really interesting, because what I'd like to do is, say we're filming a live music performance, say, right? And say it's the artists are in a semicircle around the camera, and a bit
which
like
band is, if you like.
Yeah, band is, yeah. But say it's a bit like we set up the Macket Collective recital showcase, where we had a very stylish stage area with rock and roll lighting that we set up, and the artist is playing to an audience who are around a semicircle around them. Yeah. And you could do that if there's, say, a ring of artists, musicians playing together, and then you capture it with 3 or 4 cameras in a standard kind of way, mix of static and operated cameras, capturing different shots and so on. That's all vision mix. The decisions are made by the producer and the director and the camera operators, but we stream that, and then we also stream a 360, and we make both available and people can choose, and the 360 viewers can view it on headsets or phones or tablets, and so it's accessible in every way. Yeah. And
get it.
And that would be like because they can look all around them and choose where they're looking at. It's much more immersive, and that is like the front row experience. Whereas the vision mixed capture is the TV experience. Yeah. And I think both are very valid, and you might want that lean forward, look around. It's not even lean forward, it's that look around experience. Or you might want the lean back. Yeah. I want to watch a directed piece. So I think it's fascinating, you know, and I think it really opens up opportunities. You can also then do things like actually capture stuff and put it in different environments. So you could have, like, basically what's the evolution of AR. So you could have objects placed in an environment, and someone watching either with a phone or a headset could have objects, or even live performers performing in their own environment. So you could have a live stream performance in your living room.
If you do mixed reality, like
Yeah.
on the Meta Quest, for instance.
Yeah, or the Apple Vision Pro does it. And
How much is Apple Vision Pro?
£3,000 or something.
Right, so it's not as popular as a...
It's not as
350
accessible
quid.
as a £300 to
I mean, it might be
£400
better,
device.
but
But is it that much better? But yeah, that kind of mixed reality thing's really interesting. But I think that, I don't know, I'm cautious about getting too gimmicky around it, because fundamentally the story is always the most important thing. You know, it's what is the story you're telling. But I'm very interested in how this kind of technology can enhance the liveness, and extremely interested in how it can extend access, you know, and make, especially for people with additional access needs. And I think that's, you know, it's wonderful for that. Yeah, so those are some of the
I
things
like it
that,
when I see when my pals are doing like Instagram lives or whatever at a gig. Even if it's kind of shoddy cam work, which it's likely to be, there's just something about like you're seeing their perspective of it. It's not necessarily the best camera angle, but like when you're at a gig, you never have the best view. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Unless you're at a venue like the Hydro, where everywhere is seated anyway, it's amazing.
yeah, I mean, it's the magic of the liveness, isn't it? And it's especially exciting when it's genuinely live. It's yeah, that's when it's at its most magical. And when you do impromptu Instagram lives, you get
I don't get that many
comments.
folk.
Yeah,
Don't get
but
that
you
many
do,
folk watching. I'm probably not very good at tagging and all of that.
right? Yeah, I mean, the things you can do obviously tactically to increase viewership, but it's. Well, I think
That's
the
not my point though.
no, you're just doing it for fun. But like the key with it, whether you're a brand or a cultural organization or a creative company or whatever, is consistency. You know, that's what's going to help build the audience. But yeah, in terms of like future developments in live streaming, then I think also there's immersive experiences, so like virtual production.
Let me tell you, you can take your hoodie off.
Okay, yeah, I'm getting quite hot.
I've been slowly delayering. I'm wearing a vest, merino crop top, cashmere sweater, cotton jacket that belongs to Errol. It's age 12, but I think it suits and fits me better. A cap, and it's basically midsummer in Scotland, but it's been raining today. It's only about 16 degrees.
It doesn't feel like that at the moment.
Well, we've been walking for over an hour on mountain bike trails, so
Yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, immersive video where you've got giant high-res LED walls that you can display backgrounds on, and you know, create that like they did with the Mandalorian most famously. And
I don't know
so,
what you're on about, but I'm
well, it's like
not interested.
the entire
Don't worry about it, just carry
the
on.
entire set is a video, but it looks so realistic.
Oh, right, no, I know
So-
what you mean. I don't remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
so it's the alternative to green screen or blue screen. You're actually
Yeah,
filming, you know, you can act against something you can see,
yeah.
and you
Come
could
down
do,
this path.
I think we did.
Yeah.
So you can do that live as well. You know, I think that's really interesting. And then the like live motion capture and controlling animated characters. So you could, you know, that's already how a lot of animation is done now, is actors wear motion capture suits.
Yeah.
And they are acting animated characters, sprites if you like, that in real time, and software like Unreal Engine or Unity 3D are powering it. And those
I had an avatar made. Charles and Pauline made me an avatar years ago in the Hidden Lane. 6 years ago, 2019,
well,
2020.
Charles Turtle and Pauline McCoy Turtle from Some Studio are masters of that kind of tech and have done some very cool stuff with motion captured performances, actually performing live avatars. And Giles and I spoke about the potential for doing that with brand experience programs live. But again, I would come back to there being a genuine narrative need for it. Oh, camera snapshot stop. This is a nice path.
Yeah.
It's quite like something out of a fairy tale. Yeah, just a genuine narrative need for it. You know, there's like because you see when people get hold of tech like this camera here, you know, and they do stuff for the sake of it, but
do you want to take your...
No, that's like an exasperated sigh, you know, like it's, don't do it for the sake of it. Do it because it's the camera that happens to be in your pocket, like this. Or actually because I have such a mental block about making first person YouTube style content that I can't quite unravel why I object to doing it myself, and yet I am perfectly comfortable to present a program or to stand up on stage and talk to hundreds or thousands of people, or speak in panel discussions, presented hundreds of radio programs and podcasts, probably thousands, and yet I just really just have a mental block about sitting down and talking to camera. And so I've been trying to think of ways to get over that.
Yeah.
And this is one of them, partly because it's potentially more visually interesting, and also thinking, well, I like cycling around scenic parts of Glasgow.
Do it on your bike.
I could mount the 360 camera on the bike, and then even just cutting between the shot in front, and then with me. Gordon Valentine, our one of our top camera operators, told me that Tom Gimbal Armstrong, you know, our master gimbal operator, friend who, a fantastic camera operator, he has been using a 360 on the top of his camera, so he's capturing himself as well as what he sees on camera, and I think that's a smart way to do it. And you could film really interesting film and even stream interesting behind the scenes and work in progress material using a 360 in a much lighter touch kind of set it up and leave it running way than having to make behind the scenes documentary material. Again, depending where you put it, of course. These are very steep paths, aren't they?
Pretty steep.
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to blow my nose and I'm warming up.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I might have some tissue in my pocket. I've got
what else could I talk to you about with live streaming and the value of it? I mean, we've just come back from Shetland, where I was working with Shetland Museum. I'm working with them on a project run by Museums and Heritage Highland and the Space, and had a great time doing a full day's training and consultancy and live stream strategy work after having delivered 2 in-depth remote training experiences with them. I'm going to do 1 follow-up on post-production and then produce for them a playbook with a strategic guide and practical operational how-to on how they can use live streaming as a medium to increase and extend access and engagement with the collection.
Shetland's always had that thing of the coffins of the Sombra. They had a camera up there in like 2012.
Oh yeah, yeah. And they've always streamed, well, for many years they've streamed up Helia.
Right, yeah, I remember watching it maybe, I don't know, 2021,
yeah,
something like that.
That's their annual Winter Fire Festival. And there's loads of potential for the museum to stream. They were initially looking at talks, which is absolutely entirely easily possible, but we were looking also, I said, you know, you could do walkthroughs. You know, we filmed some stuff as a demo for them of, it was actually our son Errol who shot it with a camera on a gimbal and did a walk through the entire collection, and there's loads of potential there. And then we went to the Croft Museum, Shetland Croft Museum, which is a wonderful space, and Errol and I captured.
Everybody should visit that.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and it dates back 150 years, that actual building. You can walk around the perimeter, and yeah, Errol and I captured 360 video.
Does it go out that way?
Yeah, in each space in the Croft, and that was really interesting. You know, I think there's loads of potential for the museum to do that kind of thing, and they're very interested in that, and I'm just fascinated about how they can use live streaming as a way of engaging. Their primary audience will be Shetland wide, because the island landmass is significant and the travel time is also significant between the islands. You know, to get from the top of Unst to down to southern mainland where Lerwick is, take you a day's travel. So
there's a couple of ferries
and just a lot of driving on small roads, and even if it's lesser time, you know, so it's always a consideration. Any national institution has that issue with reaching its widest audience.
Yeah.
So streaming is great for that, but it also, you capture a wealth of material in the course of making a live program. And so we talked a lot about how they could then unpack one activity live stream and use that as to fuel weeks or months worth of content online and community engagement afterwards, using our periodic story cascade strategy, for example, and repurposing content. And I think that is another of the powerful things about live program making. You put loads of effort into like planning and capturing the live program, and then afterwards you've got this valuable material, even just in the live recorded program, but also in all of the work that went into making that, especially if you have any pre-recorded inserts, any VT features. And you can do video shorts and medium length material afterwards. You can use a lot of stuff that didn't make the final program. You can use the audio for podcasts and repurpose that, and add voiceovers and continuity links and things. You can take stills, you can create, you can take the transcript and derive insights. You can pour over the analytics. You can take a lot of the data you've captured and make interactive tools. So many things you can do with it, and all of this comes from live streaming. I think it's you know, it's a very value-packed medium.
Sure.
And now we've pretty much walked back to our
Let's check time.
cabin.
It's 15:33, so it took 33 minutes, so it was about right 40 minutes to the top.
Well, and uphill the entire way.
Yeah, totally.
So well done us.
Yeah, impressive that you've held that and basically talked the whole way through.
Yeah, it's quite like delivering it. Well, it's not like delivering it.
Over there.
No, it's a lot like delivering. It's not like delivering a talk at an event, because I wouldn't normally be walking uphill while doing that. Maybe that's something to explore in the future. Stream it live, of course. I would have streamed this live, but we don't have enough internet reception around here to do it.
Yeah, totally.
Well
Well done.
thanks.